Welcome to this Mastery Empowerment course from New Earth One Network. This is designed exclusively for your higher self connection and embodiment.
Welcome everyone to this pre-class video on the Viking runes transmission. I'm Gene Ang and I'm working with Lauren Gailey with the Mastery Empowerment courses. And we have a unique Mastery Empowerment class that will occur right when I return from this tour in Iceland, where we held a spiritual retreat, visiting the power spots in Iceland, mostly in the west and in the north of Iceland. Behind me is the very powerful glacier that we spent on Snæfellsnes Peninsula. It's called Snæfellsjökull. And the power and the paramagnetic energies here can quickly transform your subtle bodies and system, bringing through positive upheavals and changes. The Mastery Empowerment course actually comes from a dream that I had during the tour, in which I met an elven priestess or queen, female divine being. And the elves are interdimensional beings very closely associated with the land here in Iceland. They live on another dimensional space, but they interact very closely with human beings and also the physical world. In the dream, she took like an instrument, which looked like a knife, and pulled out a string or thread from my skin. And then the thread turned into a metal symbol that looked very much like a compass that you use in drafting, like in sacred geometry. The next day, we were studying various aspects of the power spots in Iceland. And with further understanding, I came to realize that those metal symbols that were pulled out were actually runes, which are associated very closely with the Norse tradition as a form of their alphabet. There's 25 runes. They also are used much like in the I Ching in Chinese esoteric work or the tarot in Western esotericism. They're used as a form of divination and can be cast and read as symbols or communication devices from the spirit world. And so this series, Mastery Empowerment class, will be the transmission of 9 of the 25 runes. I also cast the runes to ask the spirit world to bring through 9 different runes that would work with the people in the group that would come together for this Mastery Empowerment class. So on the 3 days, we'll be working with 3 different runes. And each rune can be seen as a frequency of light, a frequency of energy and information. It could also be seen as a spiritual being, a spiritual consciousness. So it goes well beyond just divination or the telling of future circumstances, which is also very powerful, but actually as spiritual consciousness and energies that we can work with directly as guides in our life. I'll briefly go over the 9 runes that we'll be working with, and also they will be enhanced by the various power spots that we visited in Iceland, as well as the elves as interdimensional beings who can help us on our spiritual path. And finally, with Odin the leader of the pantheon of Norse spiritual beings, who's actually the father, the birth giver of the runes. We'll go more over the various mythologies or stories associated with these powerful symbols. The first day will be dedicated to 3 runes. One is Fehu, which would be similar to the F in the English alphabet. Then Tiwaz, or T, and then Lagus, or L. Fehu is actually the first rune in the 25 rune alphabet. So it's very synchronistic that it came up as our first rune in the casting. And this rune is associated with wealth, abundance, good health, and fertility. So we'll be bringing through this frequency of abundance to start us off. The next is Tiwaz, which actually is also very closely synchronistically linked to our programs, which have been focused on the Arcturians and the intergalactics, both cosmic star beings. Tiwaz has to do with the pole star energy and light that emanates from a star. So we'll be working with this rune and also this spiritual consciousness as a portal to our divine self and also to our cosmic divine brothers and sisters. Finally, Lagus has to do with the element of water, both as its creative or fertile aspect, as well as its destructive aspect. We'll be working with this frequency to clear out any old patterns and give birth to our new creative endeavors, particularly in the new earth. The day 2 focuses on 3 more runes, Awaz, or E, Sowilo, or S, and Rido, which is R. Awaz also literally means horse. And so this rune has a lot to do with journeying, both on a physical and spiritual sense. So we will be working with this in case anyone is undertaking a journey, both physically, energetically, emotionally, mentally, as well as spiritually. We'll work with this to enhance all aspects of our journey through life with all its challenges, its ups and downs, as we keep our even keel or true north. The next rune is Sowilo, which actually means sun. We've connected with the sun before, and so we'll be deepening that connection here through the Norse tradition and the runes as a portal or gateway to the sun or life force energy. And this sun can imbue all aspects of our life. It's similar to the chi or life force, the yang life force. And this can help us to particularly accomplish our personal destiny. And finally, on day 2, we work with Rido, or R. And again, this is very closely linked to the metaphor of the sun, but the journey of the sun across the day. And so it's interesting that these 3 runes were cast together. Awaz meaning journey, Sowilo meaning sun, and Rido meaning the journey across the sky during the day. And so if you put together the journey with the sun, you actually get Rido, which is the journey across the sun during the day. So we'll be working with our journeying in all stations of our journey in this life and as a soul in a macrocosmic sense, in many lifetimes and in many dimensions. Finally, on day 3, we work with the 3 runes of Wunjo, which is W or V, Algis, which is Z, and Dagas, which is D. Starting off with Wunjo, we work with joy. And Wunjo literally means joy, particularly that associated with working with a group, our family, our kin, our tribe, which now has become both universal in terms of the human tribe, as well as cosmic in terms of the tribe of all beings, all star nations. So we will work with joy in all aspects of our life, bringing through this frequency and energy. We'll also be doing at the end of this a transmission so that you can feel this energy of Wunjo and also it as a spiritual guide or consciousness that can deepen your aspects of joy on all levels. The next is algies or Z. It literally means the elk. And animals were very important to the Vikings, to the people, the Norse tradition here in Iceland, particularly when we didn't have modern conveniences, as they would serve as both a food source, as spiritual wisdom, and as partners living off this land, which is very difficult to live physically. The elk represents strength and protection, and so we'll be bringing through this consciousness and frequency to create protection on all aspects of our life, physically, theoretically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Finally, we work with Dagas, which is an appropriate rune, again, very synchronistic for our meeting. It means the midday sun with all its splendor, when the power of the sun is maximal during the day. And the sun's energy, the light that comes through the sun is very different at different times of the day. Even scientifically, we know that the sun or the light has different colors and affects our system, our pineal gland, our circadian rhythms in different ways. And you can think of the sun's qualities as being different at three aspects: the morning or sunrise light, the midday light, which we'll be working here with Dagas, and finally the light that comes through the sun as the sun sets. So we'll end the Mastery Empowerment class with this frequency, which will bring forth power and joy and capability and force through all aspects of our life in full force. We'll also experience this frequency as a taste of what this is to come in the Mastery Empowerment class. So hopefully you felt a resonance with these, that they're coming at the right point in your life to work both literally with the runes. This may be an opening to understand this divinatory system as well as symbols to connect with the spiritual world. And if you wanted to go deeper, to connect to each of the runes as spiritual beings, which we'll talk more of, which is a fairly deeper esoteric aspect of the runes. Also, as we enter this new earth, we connect with the spiritual consciousness and beings like the elves, the dwarves, the trolls, the fairies that are living alongside us. And as we become more conscious of these beings, we can co-create with them rather than letting this be an unconscious creation. And the runes may be a form of communication between these interdimensional beings and ourselves. So we can open to that communication during the Mastery Empowerment course, maybe throwing the runes again as a group as we hold various intentions to help us unpack the frequencies that will be coming through. We'll now do a short transmission so that you can experience two of the rune frequencies: Wunjo, which is W or V, which in particular is joy as a packed form, as a packed word for that frequency, and Dagas, which is the midday sun or splendor. So if you had any particular intentions around those two frequency ideas, or if you just wanted to let the frequencies work in whichever way they need to, you can set that intention now. So we're beginning the experience of the Viking rune transmissions, particularly Wunjo and Dagas. So we're beginning with the Wunjo frequency, consciousness, also working with it as a conscious being or guide. Wunjo means joy, or carries all aspect of joy. Continuing to deepen this aspect of Wunjo, the rune. Also, it's W or V in the English alphabet, deepening the joy in our life on all levels, particularly the joy of family or connection, relationship. And now we're moving to the next rune, which is Dagas or D, which is the midday sun or splendor in all our lives. And so, as this spiritual being and consciousness comes through with its frequency, let's first think of those past experiences of splendor where we felt on fire or bringing through our best self. We'll take that pattern, that essence, and Dagas as a spiritual being will move that forward now into the present and into future endeavors or events. You can feel that quality of excitement, of joy, of wanting to jump out of bed because you were so excited about something, about doing something, maybe even recalling how you experienced Christmas or a holiday or your birthday when you were young. That essence of joy is still the same. We're just applying it to new aspects of our life, new forms of creation in our life. Dagas can be that spiritual ally who can remind us, teach us, be with us, because it's literally something that comes from us underneath our skin, like in the dream. All these runes are actually who we are, aspects of our divine self, as close to us as our own skin. We're deepening this frequency, spiritual connection to Dagas. We feel its joy, its power. And that completes the transmission of the Viking runes, experiencing 2 of the 9 transmission frequencies and spiritual beings that will be in the Mastery Empowerment course on the Viking rune transmission. We experience Wunjo or joy and Dagas or splendor. You can gently but firmly come back to your physical body now, moving your fingers and your toes, coming completely back to your physical body now. And when you feel comfortable, you can open your eyes and snap your fingers. Hope you enjoyed the transmission and the short description of the runes, which is an ancient system, very deep, but still very active in the spiritual world, still a communication device and actually spiritual connections that we can create or enhance in our life. And again, to reemphasize that the runes, these qualities, the spiritual frequencies, like in the dream, are really part of us. They're part of our skin. They're in our subtle bodies in all layers of our skins or subtle bodies. I hope to connect with you in this Mastery Empowerment course or through this connection of this pre-video that enhances all aspects of your life, all aspects of spiritual connections, interconnections that you make with other beings, your family, your friends, your neighborhood, your greater community, and all those you serve, and all spaces and objects that you serve in reciprocity, or in what Peruvian tradition calls the aini, as we also receive the generosity and bounty of that connection. Thanks so much. And I'd like to thank Lorraine Gailey for hosting and organizing these great mastery empowerment courses, both in what I've been working with her and she's been working with many different facilitators. And I hope you'll explore all of her offerings. Thanks so much. See you soon. Bye.